Groups of adults are randomly selected and arranged in groups of 3. The random variable x is the number in the group who say that they would feel comfortable in a self-driving vehicle. Determine whether a probability distribution is given. If a probability distribution is given, find its mean and the standard deviation. If a probability distribution is not given, then identify the requirements that are not satisfied. So if we take a look at here, the random variable x does take on in numerical values from 0, 1, 2, and 3. The probabilities are listed here, and they are in between 0 and 1. And now we need to figure out when we add them together, does it equal 1? So again, remember the requirements for every probability distribution, which are listed below. Again, there is a numerical, not categorical random variable x, and its number values are associated with corresponding probabilities. Number 2, the sum of all the probabilities in the distribution is equal to 1, where x assumes all possible values. Now the sum of all probabilities must be 1, but sums such as 0.999 and 1.001 are acceptable because they result from rounding errors. And the probabilities must be in between 0 and 1 for every individual value of the random variable x. And that is, each probability value must be between 0 and 1 inclusive. Now, the random variable x is numerical because x takes on the integer values from 0 to 3 inclusive. So we can see that in our tables. And the number values are associated with probabilities because each value of x has a corresponding value of the probability of x in the next column in the table. Now we want to determine the sum of the probabilities. So when we add the sum of the probabilities, we're going to add all of those. So when we add 0.375 with 0.418 plus 0.177 plus 0.030, that equals 1. So what does that tell us? Well, the other thing is that each probability value is between 0 and 1, inclusive, and therefore all the requirements are met. Thus, the table shows a probability distribution. Now we can go ahead and find the mean and the standard deviation of this probability distribution. So now let's open up this probability distribution in StatCrunch. So here's our probability distribution. So we're going to open this data up into StatCrunch. And you can see the first column is the random variable x. The second column are the probabilities. We're going to go to Stat, select Calculators, and then scroll all the way down to where it says Custom. Now from here, the values in are going to be the random variable x. The weights in are going to be the probabilities. And then we're going to select Compute. When we select Compute, you can see that we have our mean and our standard deviation of that probability distribution. So let's go ahead and copy that into our work. And therefore, there is the mean and there's the standard deviation. Now the problem is asking us to round it to 1 decimal place. So therefore, the mean, we're going to round that up because the 6 tells us to round that up. So that's going to be 0.9. And the standard deviation, we're going to round that to 1 decimal place. So therefore, it's going to be 0.8.